we stopped at this point, function return. So if you have not been part of the class before, please check my YouTube channel. You're going to find the previous classes there. Right? So in Python, a function return, or to return a function, or to return a value, to return a value from the function, you use a return statement in Python. So I just want to quickly wrap up this function, and then we'll take it from there in our next class. So we're not going to take long in this class anyway. So to return a function, to return a value from the function, a return statement is used. And what the return statement does is that it returns the value of the expression following the returns keyword. It returns the value of the expression following the returns keyword. So basically, after your function, you just use a return statement to return a particular expression so that a value can be returned. So the return value is nothing but the outcome of the function. The returned value is the outcome of the function. So the return statement signals the end of the function. And a function does not necessarily have to have a return value or a return statement. So in any function, if you return a statement, or if a return statement is used without any expression, then what follows is that none will be returned. If a return statement is used without any expression, what follows is none will be returned, right? And also, or finally, the return statement should be inside of the function. It should be inside of the function block. The return statement should be inside of the function block. So if I say, for instance, if you say print, or let's say I say def, actually, here is it. If you look at this, right? If you look at this. So basically, what follows here, right, is the return. And this return, as you can see, it's inside the function, right? It's inside the function add number. So we've already done this. So if you call this add number, right? If you call this add number, what follows will be, so if you do this and then you run this, supposed to run, what happened? Okay, so if you call this add number, right? If you say 3, 4, you could see, right? So what we return is the addition, and that is basically what happened. And this is the addition that we return. And this addition is a combination of this and this, which is what we have collected here, right? So that's basically what a return is, right? So that's basically what a return function does. Now, in function, you can also pass argument with key and value. You can also pass argument with key. I'm just going to copy this and use it as an example here, which I've just run, right? So also let me say, let's move this, and then we'll say passing argument with key and value in a function. So let's give an example. Let's say def, let's say print full name, for instance, here, and I say first name. You already know what this is, and we say last name, right? And if you do this, then let's say I say space equal, and I say full name equal, say first name plus space plus last name. By that, you understand what I mean. So if I come here to say print full name, right? That's all. That's a function. If I want to call this function, I can say print full name, and here, and I say first name, and I say comma, last name, right? And here, if I say first name equal, let's say I say Ade Mola, and here, and I say last name equal Ade Juma, right? If I run this, and then first name is not defined. Oh, I think there's an error here. Sorry about that. Yeah. So let's rerun this. Let's try this again. You see, the reason why we have none here is because of the fact that we are not returning anything. So if I say return, right? If I do this, as you can see, we're not returning anything. But if I say return full name here, right? And here, if I do this, because I ask you to print full name here, right? So if I come here and I do this, you could see that only that return none is no longer showing because we say return full name. Right. Now, here is one thing that I want to so here we are passing argument with key and value. This is the key, right? And this is the value. Does it make sense? So the same thing, you can use it to, we can also do it with add number. For instance, if I say it's not only object or string that it applies to. If I say dev had 2 numbers, right? And here, and here, when you are passing, another thing that I need to explain to you, when you are passing when you are passing argument with key and value, the order of the argument does not matter. The name of the key, are you with me? The name of the key is what matters. I can say last name here. If I say last name here, let me say I say last name is Adejumo here. Adejumo. And I say first name, as you can see, I say first name is Ademola, right? I'm still going to get Ademola Adejumo. So I'm going to check this. So you could see that last name here is Adejumo. First name is Ademola. If I run it, I'm still going to get Ademola Adejumo. So the order does not matter. What matters is the key. As long as the key is arranged how, I mean, the key here, the name is what matters, right? So if I say add two number, I want to do it for. So if I come here and say num1 or number one, as make num2, as may say Dimitri. So if I say total, right, equal num1 plus num2, right? If you come here to say print total or return total, because we don't want it to return null, right? I don't want it to return null. I don't want it to print none for me. So I'm just going to say return total, right? So if I run this function, right? If I then call, if I call this, I say print, and I say add two number. Maybe I should just say two numbers. Let's just follow the English. So if I come here to say add two numbers, right? And here I say num2 equals 65, comma, num1, like I said, the order does not matter, equal 45. So you're expected to get 110. If you do this, you get 110, as you can see. So if you do not return a value with a function, you are going to get none. Take note, you are going to get none. So, and that is by default. But to return a value with a function, you've got to have to use the keyword return followed by the variable name that we are returning. Are you with me? And we can return any kind of data types from function. You can return any kind of data type from a function. Are you with me? You can also return multiple value, not only one value from a function. So for instance, let me say, let's try it. You can say here, returning multiple values. So when you want to return multiple value, what you have to do is that you use the return statement. Let me just, let's just put it there. To return a multiple values from a function, use the return statement followed by or return statement followed by the variables you want to return. Return and separate them by comma. By comma. Right. So for instance, let's say function arithmetic, right? You want to do an arithmetic function and you say num1, comma, num2. And here, sorry about that, here you say addition equal, right, num1 plus num2. Subtraction equal num1 minus num2. You can arrange it the way you like. Multiplication equal num1, right, multiplied by num2. And also division equal, right, num1 divided by num2, right? Let's return all these. So you can then say return addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Right. Right? So if you run this, and then here, you can then say, because we want all of them, we can say add, so multiply and div equal, we now call arithmetic, and then you pass a value there. What is the value? You can pass any value, right? Let's say we say 10,6, for instance, right? So you can come here to say print. Here you can say addition, yeah, and here you say comma, and you say add, right? We're just going to do the same thing here for subtraction, right? And then you say so. The same thing for multiplication, and you say and the same thing for division, and you say div. If you run this, it give you that particular value, as you can see, right? You can also return Boolean value. Right? But before I go into returning Boolean value, how to return Boolean value. Okay, so I've just done how to also do things on one line instead of doing this, but I don't want to complicate things. If you don't understand how this, just stick to this, it's fine. There are different ways in which you can do things. That's why I normally try as much as possible to actually do these things more than one way. So I say you can also return Boolean value, right? So returning Boolean value or values. Very simple. How do you do that? You just, let's say we want to check whether something is true or false. Let's say def. This is very easy. Let's say is even, right? And you pass n. So if you come here and you say if n, right, n divided by 2, isn't that even, equals 0. That is whatever number you give, if it's equal to 0, right? Forget to put this. Then print it's an even number, right? And then here, you return true. Inside your, say return true. Remember, those are Boolean. And then outside, you can say return false. Remember, true and false, they start with capital letter. So if you call this function to say print, if I now say is even, if we say 20 and say print is even and say 17, right? If you run this, you see, it's an even number, right? It's talking about here. The first one is an even number. If you put 18 here, did you see what happened? It's also going to say it's an even number, right? I can come here to say else, right? I can say print it's an odd number, right? If you run this, the return should be here. That's right. Yeah. So if you run this, right? If I put 17 here, you see what happened? It's an even number, it's an odd number. Right? This return, I think, should be here. Okay, return cannot be outside function, sorry. Then this shouldn't be true. No. The intention error.
Doc,
Yebo.
e
Try it again.
order of your return. Yeah, okay.
No, it's still not working.
Yeah, but the first print, I thought you want each one to have its own return. I thought that's what you wanted.
Now, if I want to return, oh yeah, return true. Hang on. Let's try it. Yeah, so this is no. So here, this is where she's supposed to have return true here. Else, print is an even number. Let's say return false here. Let's try it now. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. Instead of me returning the two together. At the point where it was true, that's where we should have returned true here. And at the point where it was false, we should return false. So that else means it's false. Does that make sense? So that's basically how to return a Boolean value, right? I think there's another thing you can also return, the last one, you can also return a list. You can also return a list. Let's say in a list of numbers, right? Let's find the even numbers that are there, and then return the list of that number. So I'm just going to copy this, guys. I'm going to make this done. I'm going to paste this here. I'm going to say return list values. So to return list, let's say function find even number. So specify the number. Let's just say n also, right? And then from there, let's say we want to find even number, right? So let's say even number. Look at this. We are going a little bit complex now. Let's say even number equal empty list, right? Empty list. So here, let's say we say for I in, you understand this, we've done this, in range n, that is whatever number you supply plus 1, right? So if, what is I? What is I in the range of number you supply? Let's say you supply 20 numbers, right? I in that 20 numbers are each of the number. Please always note when we say something like this. So if I say for X for whatever in range, that particular I or X in is that each number. Hello, is that each number from the list of the number that you supply, right? So we then say if I is a variable, remember, so I represents each number from all the numbers. So I now say if I mod or modulus 2, that's how to get an even number, equal 0, right? What do you do? Then say even, now look at this, say even number dot, you can add numbers, you can add a value to a list. When you want to add a value to a list, listen to this very carefully. It's very, very important. It's going to help you in future as you move along, especially if you are going to do data science. You need to understand this because majority of things you do in data science is list. So this is basically what you call data structure. And having an understanding of data structure is very, very important in programming. So we say here, what we are saying here is that for every number in the range of the number that you supply, so the number, if you say 20 plus 1, that is 21 numbers. That is 21 numbers. So we now said if each each of those numbers, right? If each of, excuse me, if each of those numbers divided by 2 is equal to 0, that is what modulus means. So if the remainder is equal to 0, that is the modulus. You should know that by now. If the remainder is equal to 0, then take that number, which is even number. Remember, we have an empty list here. Start adding to the list. Are you with me? We say start adding to the list, right? Are you guys getting me? Hello? Hello? Okay, so to add a number to the list, what you do is you append. You append. You then say dot append, right? You say dot append. And then you say I, whatever the value that you put here, right? That's basically what we are saying here. So under the for, you then return this even number. You return even number. Right? Let's try it. So I'm now going to say, print, find even numbers, and I'll say, let's say I say 20, and I run it. You see, by default, it's going to start from 0. Remember, range. See, it prints the even number. If you want to find the odd number, what do we do? What do we change here? If you want to find the odd number, find odd number. You just change this to 1. That's all. And I'll do this. I'll call this. Right? I'm going to change this to odd. And this. See what happened. See that they are different. And we return what we did. What did we return? List. And you know how we return list. To add element, to add number to list, you use append. Are you with me? Right?
Yes.
Yes,
We are with you.
So.
We are with you.
Okay, great. But just if you don't mind to this.
I should have said this is odd number. And also here, return odd number. Thank you, sir. Right, just to make sure that things follow the same context and pattern. Right, so if you run this again, and you run this, you still get the same thing. Right. There's also what you call function pass statements. I'm not really going to go or dwell too much on that. Basically, in Python, the pass keyword is the keyword which does not do anything. You don't really need it. I don't really know why the people behind Python decide to put it there. But the truth is that sometimes there might be a situation where you need to define an empty block. So you use that pass, right? So pass does nothing. It doesn't do anything. So where you see them saying pass, it does nothing. So if I just say, I'm just going to make this a, but just for holistic sake, that's why I'm explaining it. I haven't really seen where I have a cause to use pass, right? So, but if you want your function to do nothing, you can just use pass. So when the interpreter finds pass statement in the program, it does nothing. It's just like, shut up your mouth, don't do anything. That's what it means. So if I say, for instance, function, so if I say function pass statement. So if I come here to say def, let's say I say addition, for instance, and I say num1, num2, and we come here and I say so you can say here, oh, sorry, you can say here, don't forget this. If I say pass, if I call this function, right? Let's say I say total go num1 plus num2, right? If I say, I need to run it again. So if I say here, addition, and I say 10, 5. See what happened? Nothing happens. Nothing is going to happen. That's basically what the pass function does, right? But just to be for holistic sake, right? So that is basically function, what it does, how it implements it. Okay. Any question, guys? Any question? Any question?
You doubt.
Go for it.